The Daily Mail might bid for Yahoo, Lytro releases a new camera, VC funding seems to be booming, and more. It's Monday, April 11th, and this is Crunch Report. You can add another company to the list of potential buyers for Yahoo, DMGT, the parent company of the British tabloid The Daily Mail. It sounds like a weird fit at first, but buying Yahoo's news and media assets would give the company a big presence in the US where it's trying to expand. DMGT also bought the somewhat bro-y, millennial-focused website Elite Daily last year. This time, the company won't be making its bid alone, but rather in partnership with private equity firms, although those negotiations are still underway. The Wall Street Journal was the first to report on the news, but it's been confirmed by DMGT, which put out this statement. Given the success of DailyMail.com and Elite Daily, we have been in discussions with a number of parties who are potential bidders. Discussions are at a very early stage, and there is no certainty that any transaction will take place. Camera company Lytro is looking to turn filmmakers into its next group of customers. Lytro's light field technology takes a photo and uses all the available light to separate the different objects into a three-dimensional grid, which gives you additional detail and flexibility and could eventually be used to create virtual reality content. The company announced a new product today called Lytro Cinema. It's a product for film and TV producers. The goal is to allow them to make more decisions in post-production, like choosing where to focus the image. This could also make it easier to blend live footage with CGI. Instead of using a green screen, the Lytro Cinema could just capture footage out to a certain distance and then making everything behind it transparent. This definitely isn't aimed at consumers or casual filmmakers, though, since rental packages start at $125,000. There's been a lot of talk recently about how the startup bubble is bursting, but venture capital firms at least are raising large amounts of money. According to new data from the National Venture Capital Association and Thomson Reuters, 57 US firms raised $12 billion in the first 3 months of this year, the highest level in a decade. It's worth noting, however, that those numbers are driven by just a handful of VCs. There are actually fewer funds being raised, and only 4 firms, including Founders Fund and Accel Partners, represented half of the total money raised. So why the uptick in the first place? TechCrunch's Connie Loizos speculates that universities and pension funds just have more money these days thanks to the stock market, and venture capital is one place that they're going to invest it. The world is getting an early look at Amazon's new Kindle e-reader thanks to a leak on Tmall.com's official Kindle page. According to the leak, the new device will be called the Kindle Oasis. It will be smaller than the Kindle Voyage and the Kindle Paperwhite, and there's a bump on the back which can make it easier to hold as well as lighter. And if you want to have a more traditional shape, there's a leather case that'll basically do that for you. Contrary to earlier reports, there are no signs of a solar power case, although maybe that's just not included in the current listing. There's no word yet on timing or pricing. Most of you, I'm assuming, have seen the stats that say women generally make less than men doing the same jobs. Facebook, however, said today that it's been able to beat that trend, and it does not have a gender pay gap. The company says it's regularly looking at its compensation practices to make sure that things are equitable, and it even does statistical analysis to compare the pay of men and women performing similar work. In other words, if you're serious about eliminating that pay gap, it takes real effort. And that's not to say that Facebook is some kind of gender balance utopia. Only 32% of its workforce is female. That's the report for today. I'm Anthony Ha. Crunch Report airs every weekday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on TechCrunch.com. You can also find us on iTunes and on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow.